Our next speaker is Dr. Moses Obenade, Senior Researcher and of the National Center for Technology Management in Nigeria.
Thank you. We are going to review this topic, traditional mechanism of controlling violence in Rivers State. Rivers State is one of the states in the southern part of Nigeria. And it's a diverse state with over several ethnic groups. Part of what informed this topic is that we are looking at our people, the way they were living and doing things before they were colonized. The people of Rivers State, and indeed southern part of Nigeria, has a well-organized way of administering justice long before they were colonized. And we are going to also look at the traditional institution and how that has also helped in controlling violence. Before now, like I said, we had a very organized way of doing things. But when we were colonized and the Western education was forced on our people, that also affected, the method of doing things. This talk, we are going to look at two case studies of where the traditional means of controlling violence have been very effective. Two case studies in Ikwere and Ogoniland. So the traditional institution as it is, we want to, yep. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I wouldn't bother you. I want to go straight to, The place of traditional rulers in African society cannot be overemphasized. So much the traditional rulers possess accurate knowledge. They are seen as the custodian of the norms and value of the people. And over time, before we were colonized, they were in charge. Even when the colonial masters came, it was through them. They were the medium through which the people too were also organized and justice administered. And over time, the traditional institution has evolved to the point that almost every ethnic nationality now, you now have the traditional stew now occupied by highly qualified people. They are now professionals. Among us here, the kings that we have here, one of them is a seasoned journalist. In fact, has gone to the peak of the journalism career in Bayelsa State before, ascending to that throne. The other one is an engineer, So if you look at the institution, over time, the traditional institution has evolved. You can see several examples cited here. So what you now have is people who are more educated occupying the traditional stew, so they know what they are doing. I won't bug you with this. I want to go straight to the challenges. Over time, there have been some infiltration into the traditional stew. And what that means is that gradually partisan politics is coming into the institution, and that is also affecting, the traditional stew as an institution. Some of the point here, in addition to this, some of the chiefs who are supposed to be, by tradition, not to be partisan, today now are deeply involved in politics. And when their party members commit crime, and you are to pass judgment, in a way you become biased. So that is a challenge. And we want a situation where the institution is isolated from politics. We'll go straight. One of the case studies, in 1998, there were serious issues in a community called Ogbogoro in Port Harcourt, in the suburb of Port Harcourt. That is the state capital of Rivers State. And some people were killed, and it took the intervention of the chief. They went there and they performed some rites. Now, we have now seen a situation where disputes that have age-long disputes that have defied the normal secular solution have been taken care of by the traditional means. And that was what, happened here. The Eze stepped in and they were able to contain and, bring peace to that community by performing some traditional rites. The second one was in Ogbogorosti in one of the communities close to Port Harcourt. In this case, over 200 persons were killed. And government became helpless. Again, the chiefs came together and stepped in. And by so doing, that situation was also brought under control. In Ogoniland, there are two communities. In fact, the communities, they share the same name. If you come into that place, you won't know the demarcation between one and the other. It's an oil-rich community. So much oil and gas in that community. And for a very long time, even before I was born, there have been this crisis. They don't see. There have been this continuous killing and all of that. They went to court, fought over a parcel of land, went up to Supreme Court. Judgment was not obeyed. And it took the intervention of some chiefs, and they stepped in. And again, that situation was also put under control. The point I want to make here is that we have a situation right now as it is. People tend to believe more in the traditional way of settling disputes than the judicial. Like several people said yesterday, one of the ways they do this is by giving oath. That has also infiltrated into politics, because when somebody is giving oath, and truly, if you commit that offense, you won't live long. It could be a week, it could be a month, it could be few, and you are gone. So because of that fear, right now as I speak, most of the Nigerians who are here can attest to the fact that in 2003, 2004, we had a situation where somebody was giving oath before being supported to become governor of a state. And because of that oath he took, those who sponsor him ensured that he will not deviate from bringing returns after being voted into office. So people now don't accept or don't obey MOU. You sign memorandum of understanding. It's not giving the kind of importance they give to oath taking. So you can't take oath and renege. You must do what, because it's between life and death. So that way, we feel that so many situations that have defied the secular means can also be brought under control. The issue was settled. The local government where I come from, we have two riverine communities. And for a very long time, they had a market, very big market, where farm produce from about 3 local governments, are brought for sale in that very market. But over a very minor dispute, the entire market was raised down. People's source of livelihood was destroyed, and people, rendered homeless. That again, the local government intervened, they couldn't do anything. The state came in, they couldn't do anything. It was when the chiefs came together and said, look, we cannot continue this way, brought 2 parties together and performed the traditional rite. That was when that situation was brought under control. Now with these few case studies, we are now suggesting that we are now making this following recommendation. That the essence of, as a follow-up, traditional ruling concerning violence should be accepted in the law court as a way of administering justice if there is a dispute. Because if truly we want to bring parties together, the genuine peace and reconciliation can be achieved when people are brought together in a way that they respect and honor. Because if I'm in dispute with you and we go to court, if you get judgment, even at Supreme Court, I may still be aggrieved. But if we are settled out of court, and I feel that, look, it's a give and take, because the issue of who gets judgment in court may not necessarily be who is right. Judge, the litigation is who has the best evidence, not necessarily who is right. So This way, the traditional means goes to the root of the matter and ensure that justice is administered, is given and given to the right person. So we think a blend of the traditional way and the secular judicial system, a blend of the two, can be of help. And we also advocate that the roles of traditional rulers, should be included in the Constitution. Because people will tell you, right now, I'm aware in Rivers State that a provision of 5% is made from local government allocation for the upkeep of traditional rulers. In most communities, when people commit crime, they are taken to police. It's the same chiefs that will go to bail them. When there is crisis, they take all the burden. And people like that, because their own means of livelihood is just the institution. We want support for them. If government have a way of strengthening that institution and keeping them on allowance, that will mean that if they have a sustainable means of livelihood, they will be concerned with doing the proper thing and not turning the other way to make money from people. So we are also advocating that they should be given a place in the Constitution. If their position is well enshrined in the Constitution, it will go a long way in ensuring that the institution is respected and dignified. Yeah. So, African traditional norms and values should be maintained and the youth taught to embrace it. Finally, government should assist by providing the needed infrastructure and enabling environment for them to operate. Part of the challenge we still have now is that you have people who are giving birth to, they can't even speak the language, they don't go home, and it's becoming a challenge. Yesterday, the man from United Nations, some people are already filing in the United Nations, the indigenous people, for recognition. You see a country as big as Nigeria, only 3 languages are recognized. You have over 250 ethnic groups. It's only Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo are taught in school. So somebody who comes from Niger or comes from Ogoni, his language is not taught. It then means there is a gradual shift to extinction. A time will come when nobody can speak any language and you are not helping the corporate coexistence of that nation. So there are so many agitations going on. This cannot be handled within 10 or 15 minutes allocated to this. But we think that we are all challenged by the prevailing condition in the society we find ourselves, and the early will begin to think and work towards create this awareness that, look, that's why now there is so much emphasis on restructuring. Live and let live. Don't push the other people down just because you want to be. The rights of every citizen, even if there are 1,000 persons in the community, is as good as the right of 1 million people in another society. So I want to thank you for your attention. Thank you.